Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest live stream. Make sure we're going, and we are. Welcome back everybody. This has been a while since I've done a live stream, so hope everybody's been doing well. We'll be going over the severe weather outbreak ongoing currently up in South Dakota as well as western Iowa. A lot of areas currently in the threat for severe weather today. This is the ongoing potential for derecho right now that I've been watching for a while. This started earlier this morning. It's obviously moving off to the east as of right now. A lot to watch with this system as it unfolds. Damaging winds widespread are expected with this system as it moves down to the south and east, so definitely a system to watch pretty closely over the next several hours. Damaging winds have already been as high as 90 miles per hour with a few of these storms, so widespread event is expected again throughout this afternoon into the evening hours. This is not our only area of severe weather. We have another area starting to develop back out in the east coast. We'll go over a little bit of that as well, but for the most part, watching this ongoing derecho potential right now. I'm not going to call it derecho yet, but it very well could have that potential later this afternoon as it continues to build a longer line of storms. It may become some sort of derecho because it is producing widespread damaging winds. It's just a factor of how long this gets, because as of right now, I believe it's around 210 to 225 miles in terms of the length, and again, it has to be up and basically going for about 6 hours to be considered as a derecho, so just keep that in mind. Just for everybody's reference real quick, I am not in an AC room. I am extremely hot. It is 90 degrees, so if you ever see me sweating or anything like that, that is why. I'm not gonna have AC probably for the next few days, unfortunately, so that is kind of what I'm dealing with. But other than that, we have a blasting fan going, and hopefully that does enough. But I hope everybody's been doing well. How's your face? Yeah, it's hot out here. But yeah, it's been a pretty hot day. Let's just say that. But otherwise, we're gonna be live again for at least an hour or two. I'm not sure how long this live stream will be because it is just so hot. Hopefully, I might go live again later tonight as well. But at least I'll be live for today's event. I might go live again tomorrow, and I might be going live again the following day. So I'm gonna be going live a bit more often now since I don't really have any plans. So just gotta keep that in mind. All right, let's get to the storms though. As of right now, we have a few watches ongoing as well, and we got actually a couple of severe thunderstorm watches. This is the first one that's for primarily southeastern South Dakota. It goes until 4 o'clock Central Time. Again, this watch is for the most part for just damaging winds up to about 80 to 90 miles per hour. Again, that's our ongoing threat as of right now. There's still a potential for some hail with a few of these storms. Up to ping pong ball sized hail is what's going on right now. Very well could go as high as, again, as baseball size if a storm's able to become a bit more discreet. Here's an ongoing area that just got a new watch that goes until 7 o'clock tonight. That goes for Sioux Falls as well as Windham, Spencer, Alta, as well as Sioux City, North, as well as O'Neill and Valentine. Those areas are all included up until 7 o'clock tonight, and that's in Central Time. So again, that's for the main threat of being damaging winds up to 90 miles per hour. Main threat over here in terms of hail will be up to ping pong ball sized hail. A tornado possibility does still exist today. We had a few tornado warnings a little earlier today. It very well could happen with a storm embedded in this line of storms, but it's not going to be a significant threat. The main threat really is damaging winds, and really what we're seeing so far is even if there were to be a tornado, it would probably be the same intensity as these damaging winds. The only difference is one is a lot more widespread, and that's the damaging wind threat right now. As of right now, we have several severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing. Let's go up toward Red Field as of right now. This is a considerable threat. Damaging winds as high as 70 miles per hour, as well as some quarter-sized hails possible here. This is just to the southwest of Doolan. This is moving off to the east as of right now. There's actually a tornado possible label with almost every one of these storms, but for the most part, again, the damaging wind threat, it's going to really be overtaking the overall tornado threat anyways. You can see this is another area that we're watching until 2:30 this afternoon. This is an ongoing warning for Carthage as well as Howard, and a few other areas there are going to be going until about 2:30 this afternoon. Damaging winds as high as 70 miles per hour will be possible with this storm. I believe this storm was the one that produced a wind gust around 80 or 90 earlier. We had a wind report somewhere around 80 or 90 from earlier. I'm not sure where that was. But we've had some very high damaging wind reports with these areas of storms. A lot of 65 to 70 areas. I have seen there was a confirmed report of a 70 mile per hour wind gust earlier. So that's just something to keep in mind there. But here's another area. Again, another severe thunderstorm warning down here to the south of that one. This is for damaging winds as well up to 70 miles per hour. And ping pong ball sized hail. That's for Letcher as well as Mitchell, Farmer, Emory, as well as Ethan, as well as Stickney, Corsica. All those areas are included in this warning. This is going down to the east-south, or really primarily to the east-southeast as of right now. There is a little bit of hail action with this storm as well. That is kind of really right now toward 34. I don't have my pen pulled up. Let me pull that up real quick. Let's go ahead and kind of draw this out. So we have a hail core right here. That is, again, just along and just north of 34. And where's my pen? There it is. All right, so let's go and take a look at this. So this is kind of our area of hail as of right now. Again, any of these black areas representing your greatest potential for some large hail. This one's probably at least around ping pong ball sized hail, so definitely something to keep in mind as that storm moves off to the east. Again, a lot of these storms primarily damaging winds, but hail definitely not out of the question. A little bit further down to the south, we had a 65-mile-per-hour wind report there. That is north of Interstate 90, and here's another warning ongoing for Gregory as well as Platte. Those areas included for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and as well as a little bit of small hail. These storms down here to the south, not really much of anything besides damaging winds. Again, this is it's pretty much a derecho at this point if it can kind of continue its pattern, but damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour ongoing for those in Valentine as well as Ainsworth are included, as well as Springview. So those areas all included in those threats. And again, these storms will be marching their way towards areas like Sioux Falls and Brookings over the next few hours. As of right now, these winds are moving these storms, are moving about 50 to 55 miles per hour. Let's go and put a track on these storms so you got to get an idea of where it's heading over the next couple of hours. I might have to zoom out here a little bit. And this is a little bit of an idea of when these storms may arrive to your location. So Mitchell 207, Madison 243, Brookings right around 255, Del Rapids right around 309, Sioux Falls 318, Brandon 323, Pipestone right around 325, Canton 334 are your main areas in the track of this line of storms. And again, a lot of damaging winds is expected with this. It's likely going to be a widespread event. So if you're anywhere out in front of these storms, the best thing that you can do right now to get ready for them is make sure that you have a plan in place to stay away from windows, stay at the lowest floor possible because trees can be knocked over with winds as little as 60 miles per hour. Also make sure that you bring your loose lawn items in, plants, cover those over, anything that's loose outside. I mean, a lot of people leave umbrellas up on the porch. Make sure you take those down. Those can be definitely hazardous, so make sure you do that as well ahead of these storms. A lot to watch though over the next several hours, and again, this live stream will probably be going for a while. Make sure to hit the like button down below. I would really appreciate it, and we'll keep you updated again with the latest probably for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half or so. It's going to really just depend on how hot it gets in this room because it's already really hot without the AC. All right, let's get to some questions. Hey, Josie, how you doing? And Sarah, welcome back, guys. How you guys doing? Thank God you're live. Yeah, I was going to go live earlier, but I got stuck in traffic. Hey, Blocky, how you doing? Welcome back. No problem, Robert. You're lagging a bit? No problem. I don't think I'm lagging. It looks like I'm doing fine right now. Looks like we got a little bit of rotation going. Let me go and take a look at the velocities. There was actually, this is the part of the storm and this line of storms. This was the part that was rotating a little while ago. It wasn't really anything too crazy, but there was a little bit of rotation with this area of storms earlier. Let's go and take a look at the velocities, and I'm not seeing a whole lot. Let's go over to the storm relative velocities. There's obviously a lot of strong winds. I mean, the winds right now being estimated by radar over here are as high as almost 80 miles per hour. So it's a possibility that we're looking at some damaging winds exceeding 70. As of right now, the warning is for 70 miles per hour. This specific storm produced winds around 87, I believe, a little while ago. I'm not entirely sure, again, where that was since I was not live at the time and I was just on my phone. But there was winds that high earlier. I'm not 100% sure, though, again, where that was. But yeah, the velocities as of right now, there's a little bit of rotation there. It's nothing that's tight, but it has a little bit of something going. Again, the overall inflow is pretty much very weak. There isn't a whole lot of inflow going into the storm, but if there were to be some sort of tornadic activity, it might be right there, but we're not seeing anything that's tight that would really represent anything in terms of a tornado. Let me take a look. If anybody knows where that 87 mile per hour wind report was, feel free to let me know. I see a lot of 65 to 70 readings. We had actually a roof blown off a home over in Highmore, by the way, so we've already had a roof blown off a house from these winds, and I'm assuming that's not from a tornado, but it possibly could have been. But I believe over there that was just from damaging winds. There was also another damaging wind report of 68 there, and let's see, that looks to be about it in terms of the damage report so far. We've obviously had a lot of damage with these storms. That is the main one we've seen so far, is that a roof was ripped off, though. Here's again your hail core. This is the ongoing area just east of Lane. That is definitely producing some fairly large hail, possibly ping pong ball sized hail. Let's take a look at the hail radar and give you an idea of what the hail is looking like right now. It's going to take a second to load up here, but take a look at that. It is still loading. All right. Take a second. No problem, Josie. We'll see you again soon. Hey, Darren, how you doing? Welcome back. It's 100 degrees in Oklahoma. It's 100 degrees in my house, too, so you're not the only one dealing with the heat. I'm telling you, if you're just tuning in, again, I do not have an AC. My AC is broken, so it's not going well so far. All right, here's a look at the hail as of right now, and that is not hail. Let's see if I can try to get the hail up on here, though. I'm gonna go and refresh the hail here. an idea of what the hail is right now. So the hail is being estimated by radar around somewhere around head egg size. I don't know if it's that high, but it definitely can't be ruled out because, again, the black areas usually represent some pretty large hail within these storms. As of right now, we have no confirmation of hail with this storm, so we really can't base it off of anything. But there was, I believe, hail reported earlier. That was around golf ball size near Highmore at about 1210. So we did have some large hail earlier, but other than that, so far, again, it's been primarily just damaging winds. And this line right now, I'm pretty sure, again, it's extending pretty long. Let me go ahead and take a look. Let's go and do a little path here. So this is basically the area of damaging winds that we have as of right now. We might have to do a little bit of math here, but this is basically the area of damaging winds. It's about 100 plus 60. That's 160. It's about 240 miles right now, potentially, of damaging winds. Now, it's going to really have to be, determined by the National Weather Service, obviously tomorrow. But as of right now, the warnings for damaging winds extend about 240 miles, which is pretty close to a derecho at this point. Now, again, it has to last for several hours and whatnot, so we have some characteristic stuff to do. But obviously, there is a moderate risk of severe weather ongoing for the next several hours. I mean, this is a look at the ongoing potential for later this afternoon, and we're already in that moderate risk area that was just introduced in the latest outlook. This does include Sioux Falls and Spencer, just west of Fairmount, but those areas are the main areas included in that moderate risk. That is primarily just for damaging winds. The overall tornado threat today is fairly low. We actually don't have a whole lot of spin in the atmosphere for these storms to really develop in anything beyond just damaging winds and maybe some large hail. There's an enhanced risk of severe weather that goes out toward Mason City and Fort Dodge. That would probably just be the remnants from what we're seeing in terms of damaging winds right now. And obviously we have a slight risk of severe weather extending all the way back out to Baltimore. So there's a very large area that we're watching today, but this is the main area, again, for the damaging wind component today. Almost any storm that develops today, if it does come severe, it will be producing damaging winds. That's kind of the setup we have today across almost all of that severe weather outlook area. So that's what we're really looking at this point in terms of damaging winds. Now, again, they could exceed as much as 90 miles per hour in terms of damaging winds with these storms. So it will be a lot to watch over the next several hours. Again, we'll keep you updated with the latest. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe down below as well, and we'll keep you updated. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Again, most of the storms as of right now producing damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. We had a most recent report of a 65 mile per hour wind report, and a shelf cloud was also reported with this storm near Aurora County, South Dakota. That was near Plankinton. So those areas have already seen some damaging reports that high. Again, there was an 87 mile per hour wind report reported somewhere back here. I can't remember. Again, it was somewhere near Route 14, I'm pretty sure, back out to the west of where these storms were about a couple hours ago. So that's when the storms were rolling through those locations. So we've already seen winds as high as nearly 90 miles per hour, and that's probably going to be the continuing threat over the next several hours anyways. So just gotta keep that in mind. No problem, Darren. Yeah, again, we actually went on vacation the day that we left. The AC blew up, so we have no AC. And again, I'm probably gonna be sweating during this live stream. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting. Derecho is usually a widespread area of damaging winds. Usually, I'm pretty sure it's about 240 miles or longer. That's usually what the characteristics are. And I believe that's to last 6 hours or longer. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, though. Thank you, Leslie, by the way, for subscribing. Appreciate it. Welcome. Without an AC? Really? Well, if it's during the summer, it's more painful. If it's during, like, the, the fall or winter, it's usually not as bad. All right, again, back to the storms as of right now. Let's go back down here to the south. We had a couple of warnings for really just some weak storms, primarily producing some strong downburst winds, though. We've had several reports with this area producing damaging winds around 65, actually. That is near Tripp County, South Dakota, and that's crossing into, again, Nebraska. So Nebraska's under the gun for some damaging winds as well. Back up here to the north, though, near Platte as of right now. Again, we have some damaging winds. A new warning just got issued not too long ago. It was only 3 minutes ago for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour with this area of storms near Platte, as well as Bone Steel, Wagner, Herrick are all included for the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. And those storms will be moved down to the southeast over the next several hours. We also got a couple of other warnings ongoing. Again, this is a widespread event, so a lot of the warnings are going to be for damaging winds. As I mentioned before, damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and ping pong ball sized hail is possible with this storm near Mitchell, as well as Ethan, Farmer, Emery, all are included in this warning. Letcher is already being hit by those damaging winds right now. The hail core for that ping pong ball sized hail, possibly even as high as golf ball to hen egg size, is actually right here. That is again near the 30. It's going toward 37. It's right now right along 34. And it's actually along 37 and 34. So again, that's going to be going off to the east southeast over the next several minutes. Another small hail core up this way, probably ping pong ball sized hail south of Huron. And again, that's moving off to the east. Carthage will likely be the next in track of that storm. And damaging winds again up to 70 miles per hour is possible with this area as it moves off to the east. So definitely a lot to watch over the next several hours as this all unfolds. And again, Sioux Falls, Dell Rapids, Brookings, anywhere out to the east is going to have to definitely be making sure you're prepared. Make sure you bring your loose line items inside. Make sure you stay away from windows as these storms approach. Once you're under a warning for any severe thunderstorm warning, you really should be staying away from windows because damaging winds are almost like a weak tornado at this point. A lot of these winds are right around 70. They can reach as high as 90. So that's our main threats as of right now. And again, the damaging wind threat is definitely going to be significant. It can really send stuff flying. So make sure you're taking those proper precautions during this afternoon and evening hours tonight. All right, let's go back to some questions and whatnot. No problem, Alex. I don't think there was no recent derechos there, and especially in Oklahoma, there was nothing recent. Hey, Franklin, how you doing? Welcome back. Hey, Christian, how you doing? Welcome back as well. Hope you guys are all doing well. Frank, this is over in South Dakota as of right now, in far northern portions of Nebraska. Oh my god, I'm feeling the heat in this house right now. I'm literally starting to sweat. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, I have no AC, so it's kind of what we're dealing with as of right now. As of right now, again, there was a new watch issue not very long ago, by the way, for O'Neill, Sioux City, as well as Tracy, Spencer, Alton, Alta. There's a lot of areas are included in this, as well as Valentine as well. Valentine's already seeing severe weather, but that's for the potential for damaging winds, again, up to 90 miles per hour over the next several hours. Again, that watch will expire at 7 o'clock tonight, and this is, again, the main area that we've been watching for the last several hours. There was an 87 mile per hour wind report at one point recently. Let me go and figure out where that wind report was. Again, I think it was about an hour or two ago. I'm gonna try to figure out where that was. If anybody knows, I know there was an 87 mile per hour wind gust reported. And I'm not entirely sure where or when, but it was with these storms. Really curious to know where it was. A 59, a 70, there was a 71 mile per hour wind report over at the Mesonet station in Potter County, South Dakota. That's over near the Whitlocks Bay. So we had that report. That was again from a couple of hours ago. We had a 62 mile per hour wind report, a 66 right along the river over in Mission Ridge, South Dakota. So we also had that wind report. And near Pierre, there was a 60 mile per hour wind report. 60, I'm seeing a lot of 60s. Again, we've seen a lot of 60. A 70 mile per hour wind report near Stefan as well in South Dakota. Also, we had a few more damaging wind reports. So we had a roof blown off, as I mentioned before. That was somewhere back over here to the west. Let me go and figure out where that was again. That was here. So that was right along 14 and Highmore. So we had a roof blown off from these damaging winds about 12:15. So that was about an hour and 45 minutes ago. We also, on that same road, we had trees uprooted and major tree limb damage in Miller, which is just to the east of Highmore. So that's what we've seen so far in terms of those reports. Let's go and see if we have any more damaging wind reports. So we have 2 wind reports at this point in terms of damage. We have a lot of measured wind gusts, though, with this area of storms. And I believe that wind report was about maybe 2 hours ago, the latest, maybe even a little bit earlier than that, but I'm not seeing it here on the map as of right now, but I'll keep you updated if we figure out anything on that. Hey, Unusual, how you doing? Welcome back, and as well as Luke. How you doing? Welcome. Thanks, Luke. I appreciate that. If you see anything, Franklin, it would likely just be damaging winds. A lot of the areas back out in the Midwest and East Coast are primarily just going to see some damaging winds and maybe a little bit of large hail for today. Again, this is the area that we have the potential for a derecho during the day today. Again, that's going towards Sioux Falls, Sioux City, Spencer, Tracy, Alta. Those areas are all in the track of this ongoing area of storms. And again, we've had at least 2 or 3 dozen wind reports at this point. We also have 2 damage reports of at least a roof blown off. And again, there were some trees uprooted, significant limb damage over there in both Highmore and as well as Miller. So we've already had those reports today. MK, probably not. Nothing too crazy there. Again, probably just maybe at the most damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour over that way. You don't speak Portuguese in your New Jersey? I don't know. Somebody was speaking a different language in this chat. We got a new update on this warning, by the way. It's just damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. Still the ping pong ball sized hail threat still does exist. It's primarily over here near 37. Again, it's heading off to the east, going toward Carthage. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, let's kind of take a look. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. Central Indiana, expect to get storms today. It's a possibility. It's, again, probably going to be a fairly... Overall, the severe weather threat over that way is going to be a little bit lower than what we're looking at right now, but there's a possibility. There was probably a tornado warning yesterday. Again, I was on a trip, so I was not able to go live. Hey, Red Road, how you doing? Welcome back. Again, if you're just tuning in, I have no AC, so if you start to see me sweat, just kind of keep that in mind. AC is gone for at least the next couple of days. All right, let's go back over to the radar. Again, we have some other storms ongoing over into the East Coast as well as down into the southern Ohio Valley. I'm not going to really pay attention a whole lot to that as of right now, but there are going to be some developments over that way as well. There's an ongoing slight risk of severe weather impacting, I believe, 40 or 50 million people today in the United States. Let me take a look. So the slight risk right now is impacting 40 million, a marginal risk impacting another 40 million, and then we have a enhanced risk which is impacting 1 million, and obviously about 500,000 being impacted by the moderate risk of severe weather, which is again our most widespread wind event that we're probably going to see possibly this entire year at this point. So again, this is an ongoing area that we have a bit of a derecho kind of in the mix right now. Again, there's a moderate risk of severe weather ongoing. That's for Brookings, Sioux Falls, as well as Slayton, Worthington, as well as Sioux Center, Spencer, Mitchell's right now about to get hit by those storms. And again, there's an enhanced risk just outside of that includes areas like Pierre that's already been hit, but you won't see anything probably anymore for the rest of the day. Mason City though, Fort Dodge, Sioux City, O'Neill, those areas all in the path for these storms. After probably in the next 3 to 4 hours, you'll start to see those storms kind of approaching your location. If you're near Mason City or Eagle Grove, any of those areas, probably going to be at least another 4 hours or so until you see anything. But those in Sioux Falls, Brookings, Madison, Salem, make sure you're starting to get ready. Make sure you take those proper precautions before these storms get there, because again, we could see some damaging winds as high as again 70, 80, maybe even 90 miles per hour. We already had an 87 mile per hour wind report back near 14 not too long ago. It was about an hour ago or so. So we've had some very high wind reports without a doubt. So let's kind of keep that in mind. And again, these storms will all be marching toward Interstate 29 right now, going right along Interstate 90. So if you're driving into these storms, be very careful, be very cautious. Very heavy rains, blinding rains even. And again, that damaging wind report or damaging wind event is still going to be ongoing as you head that direction if you're heading west on Interstate 90. Hey, Lizard, how you doing? No problem, Tuesday. I appreciate you tuning in. DERECHO, it's a possibility, Cody. Again, this line of storms right now with the warnings is extending about 240 miles, so it's pretty close to that characteristic. Now, again, the National Weather Service, I'm pretty sure, has to do a survey if the day after to figure out if there was an actually derecho or whatnot. But we've seen already at least a lot of damaging reports against widespread damage that we've seen so far, so it's definitely a possibility. Again, I can't confirm it though, just due to the fact, again, they have to kind of go out and survey that sort of stuff. I'm doing good. I'm doing all right, Lizard. Thanks for asking. Yeah, again, I have no AC, so that's the only reason why I'm not doing very well. I have a bright light on. It's 90 degrees, I'm pretty sure, in this room right now, so it's hot. Feels like I'm outside. And, it might be better to actually go outside. Do an outside live stream. I have no clue, Ellie. I have really no clue. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really have a specified one that I want to go to. I like to do local news, though, if I do go into the news sort of realm. Probably be local. I like doing local stuff. I don't mind doing this. If this ends up succeeding beyond doing news, I mean, I definitely am all for it. But there's a lot of between now and then to happen. I still got like another 3 years until I have to make that decision, anyways. Watch Indiana, yeah. I might watch the Ohio Valley and East Coast a little bit later as well. Again, this live stream will probably go for at least about another hour or so, and then I'm probably going to go live maybe again later tonight. I'm not going to be able to go in full 8 hours or whatnot with the climate in my room right now. Again, it's like 90 degrees in here, and I have a blasting fan that's not really doing much, but... Are scattered thunderstorms bad? It really depends. Again, it depends on, the sheer, a lot of ingredients have to go into play. I mean, scattered storms could just be very ordinary. Like Florida, for example, they see a lot of ordinary storms during the summer, and they're usually scattered to numerous. And then, for example, you could have an event going on in the Central Plains where you got a lot of low-level shear, very strong low-level jet, and only have a couple of isolated storms, and they can be very severe. I mean, it's a lot of, it very well varies in terms of that. But I mean, if you're looking at widespread storms, a lot of the time, I mean, it probably won't be too severe. But in this instance, I mean, we just have such a really, almost perfect setup for this damaging wind event. Very strong downburst winds, very strong overall system that we have going. That's going to be producing these damaging wind events almost widespread across areas, again, of southeastern South Dakota, going to northwestern Iowa and southwestern Minnesota. It's just, again, a very large area that we're looking at today. Even could impact portions of northern Nebraska as well with the ongoing damaging wind event. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot to kind of keep in mind there as well. Does it bug? I might have to try that. We are now up to a destructive severe thunderstorm warning up to 90 miles per hour. This is now a 90-mile-per-hour wind event that is likely been, I'm assuming, possibly confirmed now. We're now up to 90 miles per hour on this storm. So that's going toward Carthage, Howard, Canova, anywhere in these areas. Make sure you're getting away from windows immediately. And also make sure if you or anybody in the stream and you know somebody in this area, make sure you message them. Make sure they're all right. Make sure you're taking those proper precautions in this area. Again, we're looking at damaging winds around 90 miles per hour now with this storm. That is a massive upgrade from what we just saw before. I'm guessing there was some sort of report within the last couple of minutes that we have a 90 mile per hour wind report there. Let me take a look and see if we have any METAR data in this area. I don't think we do though. We actually had a 75 mile per hour wind report at 2 o'clock. That's from the METAR data over at the KHON. I believe that's at the airport, possibly there over in Haran. It's possible. But there was a wind report there of 75 miles per hour. That was about 9 minutes ago, but we're up to 90 miles per hour on this severe thunderstorm warning. So again, stay away from windows, Carthage, Howard, anywhere in these areas. It's a very dangerous storm, obviously, heading off to the east right now. What's the severe weather, or what's the weather outlook for Wisconsin? I don't think you're going to see much today. Cody, it blew up. Literally. I'm tired. I'm not really that tired. Hey, Maid, how you doing? Welcome. And Caden, how you guys doing? Welcome back. Alarms going off? Are you in this area? Yeah, I mean, this is a 90 mile per hour wind event now over here. Again, 90 miles per hour. That is insane. All right. Isn't the wind speed of an EF0 70 to 100? It's typically, an EF0 is typically like around, I think it's like 80 to possibly 95. Let me double check. EF0 wind speeds. I think it's 80 to 85 to 90 or something like that. Oh, it's actually 80. It's 65 to 85. So, yeah, this is basically like an EF0 tornado. Now, a lot of the time, the EF0 tornadoes are basically like damaging wind events. Now, EF1 obviously goes a little bit higher. We're basically looking at about an EF0 type damage with this storm, possibly on a low end scale of an EF1. That's kind of what it kind of comes out to. But again, this is a widespread event. This is not just like a very isolated event. A lot of the time when we see tornadoes, they are a lot more isolated. This is obviously much more widespread in most terms. I mean, you know, tornadoes are only like, at the most we've ever seen is a 2 mile wide tornado. This is, I mean, 20 to 30 miles right here alone with that damaging wind component as high as 90 miles per hour. So that's kind of what we're looking as of right now in that regard. We had a 78 mile per hour wind report, by the way, over here in Wosley, over in Beetle County, South Dakota. So it's a new wind report there. That was, again, 1:40 Central Time. That was about 30 minutes ago. Again, this is up to 90 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the velocities as of right now. Let's take a look at what we're looking at in terms of wind speeds. I'm guessing they're pretty high. As of right now, back over here near Letcher, they're currently about 60, it says on radar. Let's take a look at the base velocities. As of right now, the radar's not estimating anything too crazy. Now, the radar does always typically underestimates wind speeds. We had a 70 mile per hour wind report as well over in Beetle County. That was again near Woolsey as well. So we had a 78 and a 70 mile per hour wind report over in Beetle County. Other than that, again, this damaging wind threat is up to 90 miles per hour now. Let me take a look and see. Do they have it on the warning here? They sometimes tell you. So at 2, okay, so this is wow. So a radar indicate, so at 2:03 p.m., the Huron Airport reported a 96 mile per hour wind report. So 96 miles per hour was confirmed with this storm. Wow. That is insane. So again, we have a 96 mile per hour wind report reported with this storm near the Huron Airport. So this is, again, a very dangerous storm. Make sure you're staying away from windows if you're anywhere in path of the storm. We were looking at the METAR data from that specific airport at 2 o'clock, and it said 75. So it was at least about 5 minutes long, most likely, that we're seeing damaging winds exceeding 70 miles per hour. So again, very high winds with this storm. Make sure, again, you're staying away from windows. That's going again towards Carthage as well as Howard. 96 mile per hour wind reports, nothing to be messing with there. That's our latest wind report there. So Falls, let me take a look. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's going to at least be probably another hour, maybe an hour and a half. Let's go and put a track on this area of storms, though. Give you an idea of when it's going to arrive that way. about 55 miles per hour or so. So probably about an hour and a half. Here's the timing on the left side of your screen. So Mitchell 214, Madison 255, Brookings 309, Del Rapids 320, Yankton right around 322, Sioux Falls 327. So kind of give or take about 10 minutes on that, but that'll be kind of your timing at that point. Brandon 333, Pipestone 337, Canton right around 341, and I'm not going to say the name right, Laverne maybe, and that's probably not right, but 350 for your area. So that's the timing as of right now. And again, Sioux Falls will be right around 325, 330, that kind of time frame at this point. And again, the main area of damaging winds is going to be heading toward Madison. So if you're in Madison, definitely make sure you're getting prepared. This is again a confirmed report of a 96 mile per hour wind gust with this storm. So we're definitely seeing very high damaging winds with this area of storms, without a doubt. All right. Thank you, John, by the way, for subscribing. I think I missed somebody else as well. Can't remember. If I missed your subscription, though, I do appreciate you subscribing. Thank you. Might have missed somebody. All right, let's see. Is there a possible tornado warning? I don't think there might be on this storm. As of right now, no, it's not really anything that has a possibility for a tornado. Now, there's a little bit of an inflow starting to develop with this storm. You can kind of see it. So there's a little bit of rotation starting to develop there. And we have actually a little bit of an inflow. So there's a possibility we get something with this storm. But as of right now, it's not labeled as tornado possible. Again, the main threat's going to be 90 mile per hour damaging winds, which, let alone 90 miles per hour, a 96 mile per hour wind report is literally an EF1 tornado type winds. That's what we're looking at. Other than, you know, it not being, you know, a spinning tornado, it's basically straight line damaging winds of 96 miles per hour. And that was again reported at the airport, which you can only imagine it might have been even higher, possibly off to the north or south of that airport. It could have been as high as 100. You never know. So at least where it was measured was 96. So we're definitely looking at very high winds overall with this area of storms. Again, there's a possibility for a tornado with any of these storms, but the main threat today will definitely be damaging winds. Here's a look at the tornado outlook as well. Give you an idea of what we're looking at there. And this is a look at the overall tornado threat as of right now. That is for Sioux Falls and Brookings and Sioux Center and Sioux City. Those areas all included in a low-end chance for a tornado this afternoon. And it goes all the way out to the east into northern Iowa, but it's a very low-end chance. Again, the main threat today will be damaging winds. We're looking at a possibility for derecho. So that's what we're looking at as of right now. Hey, Candy, how you doing? Welcome back. How you doing today? Man, it is cooking in this house. Yeah, if you're just tuning in for the first time, again, I would appreciate if you hit the like button as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it. Again, we will probably be live at least for the next 45 minutes or so. Hopefully, maybe a little bit longer, but again, I have no AC, so I'm kind of struggling. It's about 90 degrees in this room. You knew there was going to be a derecho? I mean, it's a possibility. It's definitely more likely than not at this point, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of what the Storm Prediction Center was warning of a little bit earlier, or late last week. Again, I was on vacation, so I really couldn't have done much more than I did. I was on vacation forever, it felt like. I'm glad I'm back, though, because I kind of want to do these live streams more. We have, again, another possibility for severe weather tomorrow and as well as the next day, so I'll probably go live for both of those as well. All is well in Seattle. That's good to hear, Candy. It's good to hear. Glad you're doing well. All right, let's go back through the warnings. Again, if you're just tuning in, we have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing. The main one is, again, for 90 mile per hour wind gusts. Again, we already 96 mile per hour wind report with this storm near Carthage. Again, this is going up to, it's been as high as 96 near the Huron Airport. So it is extremely dangerous storm that's heading off to the east. And again, this is a widespread event. So we're looking at widespread damaging winds potentially exceeding 80 to 90 miles per hour. That's basically an EF1 tornado, but it's a widespread event. That's, again, heading off to the east. Howard, as well as Carthage, Oldham, Ramona, those areas, Madison, all basically in the track of this over the next several minutes. We also got another severe thunderstorm warning back down to the south of that for Mitchell, Parkston. Those areas all include for the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, and as well as ping pong ball sized hail. And again, the main area of hail as of right now, and the possibility again for maybe a little bit of rotation does exist here. But we have a hail core right now here just to the north of 34 and 37. And again, that area will be heading off toward Howard. So those in Howard, definitely make sure you're aware of that. We also have another severe thunderstorm warning ongoing for damaging winds up up to 70 miles per hour near Platte, as well as Bone Steel, Herrick, and as well as Pickstown, those areas, and as well as Wagner and Marty. Those areas all included in this warning for damaging winds as well, up to 70 miles per hour, and maybe a little bit of small hail as well mixed in there. Back down here to the south as well near Ainsworth, let's go down over to, I don't know if there's any radar sites. I'm pretty sure this is mostly just an outflow boundary, but this is also producing damaging winds around 60 miles per hour, which is going to include a lot of locations in those areas, but that's again heading down to the south. This is again our main area of damaging winds as of right now, heading down to the south and southeast. And it's right now near Artiston as of right now. Let me go over to the velocities again. Let's go and take a look if there's anything too crazy going on here. And as of right now, the rotation seems to be fairly broad, which is good news. But obviously, the damaging wind event is currently still ongoing. We're still looking possibly as high as 80 to 90 miles per hour with this storm. We had a 96-mile wind report again if you're just tuning in with this given area of storms, and it looks like the latest scan showing a little bit larger of a hail core here. Again, that's just north of 37 and 34, so luckily it looks like it's a little bit less populated of an area, but it is heading off to the east southeast, so it'll be going toward Howard and possibly just south of Carthage over the next several minutes. Hey Kenley, how you doing? Appreciate that, thank you. I'm working in the heat today. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm currently in a 92-degree room, I'm pretty sure. So it is a very hot day. I don't have an AC on today. AC is broken. Thank you, Pam, by the way, for subscribing. I appreciate it. I had some loud storms at 3:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Really? In Indiana today? Was that today? So City, yeah, you're basically in the path of this. I mean, I would be surprised if you didn't see anything. So yeah, I mean, you're probably going to see some damaging winds later today. It's probably going to be somewhere between about 60 to 70 down that way. That's kind of my guess. But again, there's several hours between now and then, but you'll likely see some severe weather later today. The risk, it's primarily damaging winds up to 90 miles per hour. And again, we have an ongoing moderate risk of severe weather for this area. I'll go and bring it up again if you're just tuning in. This is the area of the severe weather today. So we have a moderate risk of severe weather that doesn't go all the way down to the southeast towards Spencer, as well as Sioux City, Sioux Falls, Slayton. Those areas all included right around Interstate 90, and just to the north of there basically is your main damaging wind threat for today. But again, it does go all the way out to Mason City, and this area of storms will likely make its way towards areas like Waterloo, Davenport. Those areas will all be in the track of this later today. I mean, this is going to be a long area of storms. It's probably not going to be nearly as strong later today, but it will definitely have it's going to be probably peaking over the next hour or two. I mean, we're going to really see the peak of these damaging winds most likely then, but again, it's going to produce probably still north of 60 mile per hour damaging winds as it heads towards Sioux Falls, Canton, anywhere in this moderate risk area. Definitely the greatest chance for severe weather today in terms of at least damaging winds. Now, again, tornado threat today is not much of a concern. As I kind of mentioned before, tornado threat's fairly low today. We're primarily looking at damaging winds and maybe some isolated large hail. Other than that, it's really just damaging winds, and it's a very high risk, though. Even then, we don't have a tornado threat. Damaging winds around 90 miles per hour, as I said before, is basically an EF1 tornado. Other than that, it's widespread, and it's straight line winds. So just kind of keep that in mind again if you're in these areas today. Just make sure you're staying away from windows as these storms approach. That's basically the best thing that you can do with these storms. This morning, okay, I gotcha. Lurking, you are pretty accurate on that statement. This is, Doug, this is over in South Dakota right now. It's heading toward Iowa and southwestern Minnesota. Yeah, Larking, that's basically what it is. It's basically a tornado, but it's much longer. Yeah, pretty much right. It's pretty good description. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the chat. Again, we'll be live probably for at least another maybe hour or so. Okay, so we have our new wind report, by the way. So again, it was 96 miles per hour at the regional airport there. So again, it's a pretty small airport, but there was a wind report of 96 over there in Beadle County, South Dakota. So yeah, we had a wind report there. Pretty high. Again, that is a very high wind gust report with this area of storms. And again, the warning is going to be ongoing for the next 8 minutes or so for damaging winds up to 90 miles per hour. And it very well could go a little bit higher than that. I don't think the warnings can even go up to 100, to be honest. But yeah, we're definitely looking at some pretty high winds with this. Thanks, Kenley. I appreciate it. Stay hydrated. Yeah, I know. It's again, that's kind of what we have to do. It's hot. Hopefully I have my AC. Hopefully I have an AC though by hopefully tomorrow. I don't know when it'll come in. I appreciate that, Bordo. Appreciate you tuning in from Poland. That's far. Appreciate you tuning in though. All right, let's go back over to the velocities. Let's take a look if there's anything on the velocities that we can kind of pick out here. See if we have any winds that are kind of be estimated by radar. We have a lot of 60s right now, and again, when the wind report happened over in Haran, the regional airport, it wasn't even estimated at 60, so there's definitely a possibility that the radar is underestimating overall wind speeds. But we very well could be still looking at, again, possibly, I mean, right now we're seeing around 74 kind of down here near Artisan. That's kind of the area that we have a little bit of an inflow trying to develop there. But overall, the rotations remain fairly broad. Again, this is an area that we have a small little inflow. It's nothing too crazy. But if we were to see a tornado, again, it would be kind of embedded in this area of storms. But, I mean, even, again, the 90-mile-per-hour winds are really overtaking any tornado threat today. It's, again, 90-mile-per-hour winds are nothing to be messing with this area of storm specifically. And, again, we're still looking at 70 miles per hour back down here to the south. So, again, if you're over in Sioux City, Sioux Falls, anywhere over out to the east, again, your main threat today will be damaging winds. I'm not concerned about a tornado threat, but you should treat this as if it was a tornado because, again, it can knock over trees and it can do a lot of damage. Any damaging winds can do that. And, again, widespread risks like this can definitely do a lot more damage than you think. So just kind of keep that in mind. Treat it as if it's a tornado because it is definitely going to cause some damage. Again, it's not going to be anything beyond, it's not going to destroy your house, but it will definitely possibly, knock some shingles off. It can knock over some trees. That sort of thing is definitely a possibility with these storms throughout the day today. So just keep that in mind. Heat index reaches 99. I mean, it feels like that. I mean, it feels like 100 degrees in this room right now, but it's hot. Thank you, K Coral, as well as Doug for subscribing, guys. I do appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you. Again, this is a pretty crazy area of storms. I mean, this is about 200. The area of damaging winds right now is extending about 250 miles. And again, it possibly could become a derecho, but the area of storms that's primarily producing damaging winds, again, is here. And then we have another area down here to the south in Nebraska that's currently a little bit more cut off from the area of storms now. But again, very well could possibly get this as a derecho. Again, the National Weather Service has to kind of survey that tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. Jay, this is over in South Dakota. It's heading into Iowa and southwestern Minnesota over the next few hours. It's also going to be going to northern portions of Nebraska. It's our main area. As of right now, though, the storms are currently in South Dakota. And we have a couple over northern northern Nebraska. We have another damaging report at 2:05. This is over at the Mesonet station at Douglas County. So this is Corsica. That's over down to the south. So we have a new one report there. Again, we had a 96-mile-per-hour wind report over in Beetle County. We also had another one over here, an 80-mile-per-hour wind report over in Woonsocket. So that area over in Sanborn, South Dakota, or Sanborn County, excuse me, South Dakota, saw an 80-mile-per-hour wind report. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning as well that just got issued. This includes a lot of areas. This is going off to the east. Again, Sioux Falls, Crooks, Parker, Freeman, Dalton, Salem, Emory, all those areas are included for the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and as well as some quarter-sized hail. So again, that's heading off to the east, and basically Sioux Falls, if you're in those areas, make sure you're starting to get ready. Again, those storms will be there probably within the next hour, if not maybe even sooner than that for those areas. And again, if you're over in Madison, make sure you're starting to get prepared as well. We'll have a new warning coming out for this storm area pretty shortly as well. And again, that's the area producing damaging winds up to 90 miles per hour. So a lot of damaging winds obviously ongoing with these storms as of right now. No problem, Jay. All right, let's go back down here to the south. We have a new warning as well over here. This is near Spencer, Lynch, and Napier. Those areas include the potential for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. So that's what this area of storms near Bonesteel and Herrick as of right now. Again, that's heading down to the south, and that warning will expire at 3:15. So that's our new warning there, heading down to the south. So we have a couple of warnings again in Nebraska. Majority of the damaging winds as of right now, though, over here going towards areas like Sioux Falls. Eventually, it'll be going into areas like northwestern Iowa and southwestern Minnesota. So it's kind of what we'll be looking at over the next several hours with these areas of storms. Again, over here to the northwest of Sioux Falls, as of right now near Howard, and again near Carthage. This area is again producing the potential for damaging winds around 90 miles per hour. We're going to get our next radar update, or at least our next warning, excuse me, here in the next several minutes. I believe the next warning should be coming out here pretty shortly. With this storms, we'll kind of see if there's a warning still for 90-mile-per-hour wind reports and whatnot, or if it will still stay kind of around 70 or 80. Most of the storms right now are below 80. In terms of the warnings. Again, the winds that I'm estimating as of right now on radar are currently around 70 to 75, so I wouldn't be surprised if this warning is still for 80-mile-per-hour winds. That's kind of my guess at this point, but other than that, I think again, we had a 96-mile-per-hour wind report with this storm, and it was not even estimating that on radar, so it very well could still be around 80 or 90, but we'll just have to wait and see. Should get our next warning within the next 2 minutes. Yes, Moxie, there's definitely a tornado threat, but overall, it's a fairly low tornado threat, and overall, I mean, the damaging wind threat is overpowering the tornado threat today by all means, so that's kind of what we're looking at as of right now. Dale Rapids, by the way, is included in this warning for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. Just an update on that. All right, we'll get our next warning update here in just a second. I'm going to go and zoom a little bit more onto this storm, and I need to go ahead and go on my phone real quick. No problem, Moxie. Yeah, if you have any questions about any of the severe weather ongoing, feel free to post those in the chat, and we'll keep you up to the latest on the storms. Okay, cool. Again, if you're just tuning in as well, I would really appreciate it if all of you hit the like button real quick. It helps my page out a lot. And again, I'm a small page here on YouTube. I would really appreciate if you hit the like button. It does mean the world to me. Even if you're not subscribed, it does help a lot. Again, we'll keep you updated with the latest. If you're enjoying this live stream, at least make sure to hit the like button. All right. It is so hot in this room. All right, let's get we're gonna get our next warning here within the next 30 to 45 seconds, I would assume, with this storm, so should be getting that here in a moment. Sirens are going off again, Huron. Did you, I don't know what part of Huron you're in, but did you have high damaging winds there? I'm assuming you had some pretty high winds there. Yes, I mean, again, we had a 96 mile per hour wind report. I'm guessing you've heard that already, but there's some definitely some crazy winds there. Yeah, this is our ongoing new watch that goes until 7 o'clock tonight. Damaging winds up to 90 miles per hour includes Sioux City, Tracy, Spencer, Alta, Alton. A lot of areas included in this watch. It's primarily for northern Nebraska, southwestern Minnesota, and again, northwestern Iowa. I would anticipate a new watch later this afternoon, maybe this evening in Mason City, Fort Dodge, Carroll, those areas back out to the east. As of right now, again, nothing to be concerned about in the short term, but you'll probably see some storms a little bit later this afternoon, and again, possibly into the evening hours as well. You complain and be negative about the heat? Go for it. I've been complaining about the heat in this room. Let's see. All right, we don't have any new warnings yet. We're probably gonna get a new one here, I would assume, pretty shortly on this storm. One of the storms gonna die to, I mean, all the storms combined are not gonna really, weaken much, probably until at least, after 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. This is gonna be a long duration area storm, so it's gonna last a while. I mean, at the minimum, this can be an MCS, but we very well could possibly get this named as a derecho. It's definitely not out of the question. We had a 60 mile per hour wind report this is over in Sanborn County. So that's actually associated, I believe, with the, again, that was kind of on the southern end of this storm. We should be getting our next warning here in a second, though. But as of right now, no warning for Howard or Madison yet. They issued a new warning for this area of storms, but we haven't gotten a new one on this area. Again, this is the area producing 90 miles per hour, and we just got a new warning. So as of now, it's down to 70 miles per hour for those over in Madison, Renoma, as well as Oldham, just south of Arlington, Canova. Those areas all included for the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail. The radar's been estimating right around 70 miles per hour, so that would make sense. Those areas. Yeah, it's gonna definitely bow. That's without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, this is a fairly well-defined area of storms. It's basically bowing at this point, so we definitely have a pretty defined area in that regard with damaging winds. What's going on over here? Yeah, warning kind of, I think I glitched out, but again, the ongoing warnings are for now winds around 70 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail. That's for both warnings. Again, if you're going to see any hail, which is not really the main threat, but if you were to see any hail, it would be here in these areas that have a little bit more pink and areas of black. That's representing your larger hail, and as well as over here off to the north of Fulton as well. Those areas are kind of the main areas right now of hail. There's also a little bit up here, it looks like near 37 and 34. That's going to be going toward Howard, Canova, Farmer, Salem. Those areas really in the track of not just damaging winds around 70 miles per hour, but also the hail potential as well. Blinding rains likely ongoing right here along Interstate 90. If you're traveling east or west, you're probably going to be able to see that depending on where you are along this interstate. So just make sure you're keeping that in mind as well. Again, that will be all heading off to the east. Also, obviously, some severe weather over in Virginia now. Again, I won't be really covering a whole lot of that right now. I might go live again later tonight on that sort of stuff, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to do one last breakdown, and again, it's just so hot in this room. I don't know. All right, let's go back through this again. It's currently, this is the ongoing warnings as of right now. Again, we got a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing. This is the main one that just got introduced again moments ago. Madison, Carthage, Howard, Canova, Ramoma, as well as Oldham, Arlington. All those areas include for the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail. And this is the other warning ongoing for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail for Freeman, as well as Parker, Salem, Crooks, Sioux Falls, those areas all include the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail as well. Back down here to the southwest, we have another warning ongoing for this potential for damaging winds around 60 miles per hour. That's going to be going towards Wagner, as well as Spencer and Napier and Lynch. Those areas are all in the track of this area of storms over the next several minutes. Again, all these storms for the most part are moving about 45 to 55 miles per hour. This is our other warning ongoing as well in northern Nebraska. This is for the potential for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour along basically an outflow boundary. So there's not a whole lot of storm activity down there, but there is definitely some damaging winds down that direction. We have several areas of rotation as well. A lot of these broad rotation. Again, the radar's been picking up on rotation here for a little while. Let's go over to the velocities, take a look if there's anything too crazy. And again, extremely broad rotation across the board. A lot of these grays representing really just not much of any rotation as of right now. That's definitely an area to watch pretty closely over the next several minutes. In terms of at least damaging winds and possibly a little bit of hail as well. A lot of these pinks and black areas representing that potential for some large hail. Thank you, McLovin, by the way, for subscribing. I appreciate it. No problem, Moxie. Hope to see you again later. Thank you for tuning in. See you again soon. All right, cool. Again, if you have any questions about any of the severe weather ongoing, feel free to put those in the chat. And I am sweating because of how hot it is in this room. Again, it is 90 something degrees in this room now. I have no AC, and it's very painful. Our AC blew up the other day, and yeah, that's where we're at as of right now. It literally blew up. All right, let's get back over here again. Let me put a track on these storms as well if you're just tuning in. If you need a sort of timing guides or whatnot, I'll go ahead and put that on the screen here for you. Let's go and kind of draw a track of this again. All these storms moving at approximately 55 miles per hour. So this is kind of your timing as of right now. So Madison, probably right around 3 o'clock or so. Sioux Falls, 327. Vermilion, 342. Pipestone, 346. Sioux City, 4 o'clock or so. Orange City, 412. Sheldon, 418. And Worthington, right around 428. That's your timing again for this area of storms. Again, all producing damaging winds as high as 70 to possibly 80 miles per hour. It very well could peak around 90 miles per hour, though, over the next several hours. So just keep that in mind. Again, if you're liking the stream so far, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button. Again, I am extremely hot in this room. I need a new AC. So if you hit the like button, that might help. But also make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Again, we do live streams like this all of the time. I would really appreciate it. And again, this is your timing guide for the next couple of hours. Again, this area of storms is moving about 50 miles per hour for the most part as of right now. Again, all heading off to the east and east-southeast. We're looking as of right now. Let me pull up the track for now. Again, if you need to go back a second, get a little picture of what the timing is, you can feel free to do that. Just go back a few seconds and you'll be able to see it. Looking as of right now. Too much velocity. Yeah, literally. Literally. It is, it's, yeah. Too much velocity. That's what we're going to be calling it now. All right, let me go over to the wind gusts again. Let's look at the METAR data. So the one at Mitchell, that was from actually 2 hours ago. Okay, so we actually have a little report here. So this is from, wow, this wind actually lasted a long time. So if you're just tuning in, over in Huron, there was a 96 mile per hour wind gust report. That was at the regional airport. And at 2:16, it was still at 90 miles per hour. So this area of damaging winds possibly lasted as long as 15 minutes. So that is extremely long time for damaging winds, and especially in that area where it's a little bit more populated. Again, we had some extremely high winds there. New METAR data as well near Mitchell. Again, METAR data is basically what we use, those that are in aviation, that's what they use to use forecasts. So METAR data will usually give you the temperatures and much more abbreviated context, and a lot of people do not understand it unless you actually learn the language. It's a very different language in terms of what you're looking at now. But what we're looking at in this is basically pretty basic. So basically what this is showing, again, humidity is basically 100% here, but this is a wind report of 63 miles per hour over in Mitchell as well. So this is a new one at the Mitchell. It looks like some sort of airport there as well. That's again the METAR data at about 9 minutes ago. So we at least had about 65 mile per hour wind report gusts at this point around Farmer and Emory, I'm assuming, as of right now. I believe that's probably it for the METAR data. There's not a whole lot of airports, I don't think, in these areas. There's actually a couple here, but that's about it. So the next airport after this for any sort of METAR data would probably be around Madison, which will probably be in about 45 minutes or so. So that's what we're looking at as right now. That's what happened to your AC. No, it literally blew up. I'm not even kidding. It exploded. That's why I have no AC. My legs are actually sweating. I don't think that's ever happened. It's brutal. Yeah, always make sure you get your AC service. That's all I gotta say. Have a good AC person too. This is it's brutal not having an AC. That's all I gotta say. Because I mean, it's especially during the summer. If you're any of these summer states, anywhere in, you know, Texas, for example, Texas in the hundreds right now, man, it's brutal if you don't have an AC during the summer. All right, let's go back down here to the south. Again, we have several warnings ongoing, all of them producing damaging winds between 60 to 70 miles per hour. Again, this is a storm that did produce 95 mile per hour wind gusts a little while ago. This storm, again, is heading off to the east as of right now. Again, those in Madison, make sure you're starting to get ready for it. Canova, Howard, those areas all on the track of the storm over the next several minutes. Again, all heading off to the east-southeast as of right now. And again, they'll be heading off to the east over the next several minutes. I do have a backup fan. It's just not it's not like an AC fan. That's the problem. I have a fan that's blasting at like the highest level possible. It's like a tower fan. It's not doing anything. It's pretty pathetic. It feels so hot in here. It couldn't do it. It's miserable. It is actually. It's a lot more miserable than you think. I would rather be outside right now, to be honest. It is heating up in this room. I'm telling you, it's probably about 90 degrees. If I had a thermometer in here, there's one out in, you know, out this door, and it's around 89, I think now. So yeah, it's brutal. Again, this area of storms, though, just kind of get back on track here. Again, this is the area of storms producing, again, damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. Oldham, Ramona, as well as Madison, Winfred, those areas all on the track of this storm over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Again, anywhere right along 34. Make sure you bring your car into your garage. Make sure you stay away from windows if you're in this warning as well. That's the best thing that you can do in these warnings. Again, damaging winds can blow over trees and can blow debris into houses. So just make sure you're kind of keeping that in mind. Again, this is not a tornado by any means, but it's definitely going to be producing winds around an EF0 type tornado. So, and it's obviously much more widespread. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, make sure you're staying away from windows. These storms are not something to be messing with. We have a little area, by the way, down here near Spencer that has a little bit of something trying to develop here. You kind of see a little bit of a hook trying to develop almost. Kind of got a little bit of an inflow going to the storm as well. So that's what we're looking at as of right now. Again, that's heading off to the east, but this is something that's trying to develop. And again, we could see maybe an isolated tornado or two embedded with this line as it heads off to the east. Not out of the question at this point, as these storms all kind of progress off to the east over the next several hours. Alexandria definitely still seeing some heavy rain. Again, that's heading off to this area of storms, again heading east toward Hartford, as well as Sioux Falls, Parker, all on the track of this area of storms over the next several minutes. So just keep that in mind as it moves off to the east. Dalton as well, Freeman and Menno, Tripp, Parkston, all kind of in the area of storms right now for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. And we again have some damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour near Bonesteel, Wagner, Herrick, Armour, those areas all included, as well as damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour over in Spencer. That's in northern Nebraska. So that's what we got in terms of severe weather right now with this area of storms. Let me go back to the velocities and see if we got any sort of velocity data on these storms. Again, I haven't had really any accurate estimates in terms of winds from the radar estimated velocity so far. Again, we're seeing 57, and back near Mitchell, again, it was as high as 63, 65 not very long ago. Let me take a look. It was 63. That was the latest METAR data. It's 228 over in Mitchell. So we've had high wind reports. The radar is not really estimating those very accurately, though, it looks like today. There's actually probably about 70 mile per hour wind reports over here. It looks like about 73 being estimated by radar west of Howard. And again, Howard, Winfred, Canova, those areas all on the track of this area of storms over the next several minutes. So we are definitely looking at some fairly high winds. As of right now, the radar is estimating about 73 over here. And again, these are winds, it looks like as of right now, kind of going away from the radar. So that's what we're looking at as of right now. Again, pretty high winds with this area of storms right now. And we have a couple of areas, again, of trying to develop some sort of inflow. Obviously, we sometimes have that happen with these sort of lines of storms, try to develop a little bit of a hook and try to get a little bit of an inflow going. But as of right now, so far, the progress on that has been fairly minimal. And again, the overall shear today is fairly low. It's just primarily these very strong downburst winds. We've got an outflow boundary and whatnot. It's a very outflow-driven area of storms at this point. Put a water ball or something behind the fan. I don't know if that really does anything. I mean, the fan actually doesn't feel that bad, but it's not great. 100, it could be better. I don't have an AC, so that's kind of the problem, but I'm doing pretty well otherwise. Oh, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Sioux Falls, hopefully it doesn't get too bad there. Yeah, Sioux Falls, again, I'm expecting damaging winds. Again, anywhere in this area is probably going to be seeing at least numerous, if not widespread, damaging winds. So it's fairly likely that you're going to see some sort of at least minor damage with these storms that heads towards Del Rapids and as well as Sioux Falls. So it's kind of what we're looking at as of right now for those areas. And Salem, again, is within the immediate track. Madison's going to be within the next 15 minutes or so. I believe Sioux Falls, I kind of did the time track a little while ago. It's probably going to be right around 325, 330 from when you get hit, Sarah. So it's kind of what we're looking at as of right now for your area. Doing well. Cooler weather. I wish I had that. I'm glad you're having some cooler weather, though. I know cooler weather feels great, especially during the summer. And today has just not been the best day overall because I don't have an AC. AC blew up. And I don't know when we're going to get, I think probably going to get a new one, hopefully within the next few days, but I don't know when. What time for Central Illinois and Princeton area? Central Illinois will not, let me take a look at the timing. I didn't make a forecast this morning, so I don't have it off the top of my head. Let me take a look for you. But it'll probably be a little while until you see, at least if you're going to see this line of storms, it'll probably be a while. Central Illinois will probably be right around, you know, maybe 12, 1, 2, kind of that time frame. So it's going to be more of an overnight threat later tonight, overnight. 108 in central Indiana. Really? That is hot. I don't know how hot it is over here. I don't know what the temperatures are. Let me take a look. I know 66 back in Mitchell. That was after the rain. That was the rain cool air, though, cooling it down. Let's take a look at the temperatures. Apparently where these storms are going through, it's currently 100 over here in O'Neill. Taking a wide view of this. Yeah, over it's basically around 100 basically everywhere in the Central Plains. This is a massive heat wave overall. It is extremely hot. Behind the storms, if you're behind these storms, you're looking at 60s. So it's a massive difference in terms of what we're looking at there. It's definitely a big difference. All right, let me back over to the... There we go. There's a big difference between one area and another. There's to 80, yeah. Sony, you'll probably see storms sometime between about, 11 or 3 or something like that tonight. You could see an isolated storm, though, between now and then, but it's going to be fairly isolated. Desmond, I mean, I don't think it's going to go that far south, but it very well could produce. I mean, damaging winds could occur in those areas. Again, the overall risk that the Storm Prediction Center outlined today, and again, this is just their outlook, but it goes into potentially northern central portions of Iowa, and the line as of right now is slightly further to the south than really what was forecasted. It's very slightly, though. It's not anything too major of a difference, but I mean, this is the area of storms as of right now. Most of this is just outflow driven down here, but basically what that'll be doing is possibly going towards areas like Des Moines as well as Cedar Rapids. So it's definitely a possibility that maybe some areas near Interstate 80 or just to the north of that start to see maybe some sort of derecho type effects, because again, this is basically all that is right now, is basically kind of like a derecho. We very well could possibly see a derecho with this. It's definitely gonna have to be a little bit longer than it is now, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Very well could go toward those areas, though. It's definitely not out of the question. We have a couple of new warnings, by the way. This is for Yankton, Springfield, Vaughan, Scotland, Vertle, Crofton, those areas for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour and possibly some quarter-sized hail. That is with the storms down here to the south, basically currently in far southern South Dakota and northern Nebraska. So that's our threats as of right now in those areas. All right, thank you, Gene, Sony, and Hippie for subscribing, guys. I do appreciate it. Welcome. Slide of storms looks like it could become a derecho. It very well could be, and that's kind of what we've been watching. It definitely has a possibility. One second. But yeah, it's a possibility that it becomes a derecho, but again, they have to kind of survey that the following day, National Weather Service. But I don't think it's long enough yet. I mean, it's kind of a little bit broken here, but it definitely has the potential. I mean, we've seen damaging wind reports across this entire line between as low as, 50, 55, all the way up to 89 to 96 miles per hour is the highest we've seen so far. So, again, it's definitely a possibility that this does become named a derecho. We haven't had one in a while either, so definitely a possibility. 108 heat indexes in Princeton. Yeah, that's crazy. I can never do that. Sony, not necessarily, but typically it's more prominent during the daylight hours. Typically, like during the evening hours is typically like the peak, almost like mid to late afternoon, early to mid evening. Welcome back, Franklin. I was already hit or miss. I'm 27 miles due east. Oh, are you? I think you'll see something. You'll definitely see some storms today. I don't know if they'll be severe, but you'll probably see something. Sony, it has a lot to do. It doesn't really have to do with the heat or humidity. I mean, it has something to do with humidity, but overall, there's just a lot of factors that go into these sort of events, and I mean, this sort of instance, again, you need a lot of, you know, shear, for example. You need strong, you know, like an outflow boundary like this that's currently bringing the storms. You need a pretty strong low-level jet overall. You know, you need a lot of factors with severe weather events. It's not necessarily the temperatures that are going to impact everything. They do make a difference, though. I mean, if you talk about Texas, for example, I mean, we're talking, I mean, down in Texas, North Texas specifically, and even Oklahoma, the cap is a huge factor in severe weather. And I've made videos on this before. I think you can do exclamation point cap if you want to learn a bit more about it. But basically the cap, basically, like if you go a few thousand feet up in the atmosphere, there's sometimes a temperature inversion. And if the temperature at the surface is not warm enough to accompany that, we don't typically see severe storms. I mean, there might be a potential for severe weather, but as you kind of go up in the atmosphere, the temperature all of a sudden warms up. That stabilizes the atmosphere, and it kind of prevents storms from developing. So a lot of the time we see that in Texas and possibly even sometimes Oklahoma, but it really just depends on the it's very situational. I don't think it really happens nearly as often though in these states specifically, like up here in South Dakota and whatnot. It really happens a lot more down there in Texas. A little bit of a rotation again over here. I was kind of mentioning this before. We had a little bit of a hook trying to develop here. Might even have a small tornado here right now. No tornado warning yet, but there's a little area of rotation near Spencer, so definitely an area to watch. Going towards Salem and Montrose, those areas are on the track of that. Definitely a little area of rotation trying to develop as of right now. We definitely have a little bit of an inflow going to the storm. Kind of see the inflow right now going to the storm. Definitely a possibility that we get some sort of possibility for a tornado. This is the latest reflectivity up, or the latest velocities update. So again, the area of rotation just to the northeast of Spencer, so definitely an area to watch again for possibility for a tornado to develop. Definitely something to watch. All right, thank you, Thomas, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you. All right, it's like 95 in Kansas. Yeah, I mean, it's hot everywhere, especially in, I mean, again, the Central Plains and whatnot. It is extremely hot in those locations. Central, Southern Plains, the Ohio, I mean, even like down into the, I mean, Southern Midwest, Ohio Valley area, even, it's just hot everywhere right now. And again, it's summer, but it's definitely not normal. It's definitely a very above average summer overall so far. Cody, I would assume that Virginia's working. I don't know, though. I don't know what she does. It's pretty early in the day, too. I usually don't go live this early. I don't usually go live before 4 o'clock, but 4 o'clock Eastern time, I should say. Just all depends, though. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, we definitely have a possibility, though, for maybe a little tornado here. A little bit of a rotation there. It's a little bit stronger as you go a little bit higher up. It's kind of hard to see on this radar, but it looks like it's a little bit stronger as you go a little bit to the higher up portions of the atmosphere. So there is definitely some rotation with the storm near Spencer. Again, the overall threat is still going to be damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. Definitely can't rely on a tornado, though. 75 degrees? You are lucky. That's all I gotta say. Cody, possibly. We'll see. If not, I'll go live again tomorrow. I would like to get back into live streams a bit more often, because I have not really been here recently, so would like to make up some time. Yeah, we do have actually a tornado warning over in Virginia. That's over near Lancaster. Yeah, not the overall rotation on that storm seems to be pretty weak, but definitely make sure you're seeking shelter if you're over that way. Very strong winds, without a doubt, though. That's going to be going up the coastline anyways over the next several minutes, so I won't really pay attention too much to that. All right. By the way, Tyler, if you're indoors and you have an AC, you're lucky. Especially in 95-degree weather, because I don't have an AC. My AC's broken. All right, let's go back to the radar real quick. All right, let's kind of take a look. So this says right now, again, what we got going as of right now. Again, this is the area of storms back up here to the north. This is the furthest northern point, basically, of the severe weather right now. This is damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, and as well as some quarter-sized hail. Again, that's tracking off to the east as of right now. And again, the potential for damaging winds as high as 70 miles per hour, and as well as quarter-sized hail does exist with this area of storms. We also got a little area down here that has a little bit of an area of rotation, as I kind of mentioned before, near Spencer. Rotation, again, is definitely there's a little bit of rotation there. We got a little bit of an inflow going into the storm. So if there were to be a tornado, it's definitely a possibility near Spencer. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, we'll be heading towards Salem and Montrose over the next several minutes. So again, it's heading off to the east as of right now. And again, damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour will be possible as that tracks off to the east. Back down here to the south as of right now, we got ongoing storms as well, closer to areas like Wagner, as well as over near Yankton, and going down to the south. A few other areas included in this for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. Springfield, Verdell as well. For damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour is the main threat with these storms. Got a couple of areas of storms down here in Nebraska. It's primarily just outflow, so it's mostly just outflow boundaries. So most of it's just gusty winds, maybe up to 60 miles per hour. Other than that, I mean, we're not looking at a whole lot of storm activity there in Nebraska, but maybe a little cool down can't be ruled out. Overall, though, as I kind of mentioned before, the area of storms is slightly further south than forecasted, so we very well could see this area even go toward areas like Des Moines later on today, and it very well could impact those areas with maybe some scattered to maybe even numerous damaging winds in those areas. So definitely something to keep in mind over that way. Let me go back over to the velocities here real quick as well. Get an idea of what we're looking at in terms of the velocities. Because again, this was an area that we had a little bit of rotation in. And yeah, as of right now, again, the rotation isn't really tight, but there was a little bit of a hook there, and there still is a little hook, but a little bit of an inflow still going to the storm. We very well could see maybe a brief tornado out of that going towards Salem or Montrose over the next several minutes, so just kind of keep that in mind. Again, we'll be heading off to the east over the next 15 to 20 minutes, and again, could pose a tornado threat as it tracks off that way. Yeah, that tornado warning again. If anybody's over in Virginia area, make sure you are seeking shelter in those areas. That I think was again near Lancaster, Virginia. It's really far eastern Virginia. There's a tornado warning ongoing, so just make sure you're seeking shelter. Again, I won't really cover that, but definitely an area to watch. All right. As I kind of said before, I was only going to be out doing about an hour stream because I have no AC and it's extremely hot in this house, but I do appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Again, if you are just new here, I would appreciate it again if you hit the like button. If you did enjoy the stream, it really helps the page out a lot. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well if you're new here. Again, we do live streams like this all the time. I hope every one of you do subscribe if you're new here, and you'll get the latest weather updates from us. Again, I will probably go live later tonight, possibly. If not, I will be live for tomorrow's severe weather event, and I will be live for the following day's severe weather event as well, so I can make up some time. Again, I have not been live for a while, so I would like to go live probably at least every day for this week, and we'll kind of keep you updated with the latest on those. All right, I appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your night. If I do not see you again tonight, I'm not sure again if I'll go live tonight. Stay updated on our Discord server. I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat. Give me, just so you know when if I do go live or not, as well as make sure to follow our Twitter as well down in the description below. Again, I do appreciate everybody, one of you guys tuning in. Again, we're a small little channel here on YouTube, so if you do hit the subscribe button, it really does mean the world to me. And we'll definitely, again, possibly go live a little bit later tonight. All right, appreciate everybody tuning in. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you guys all again soon. And hopefully I get a new AC, because it is, again, it's not like 92 degrees in here. So hopefully I get a new one, though. I do appreciate you guys all tuning in, though. We'll see you guys all again soon.